Welcome back to Sports Talk with Dad. As always, my name is Kyle, and I cannot call this Sports Talk with Dad without the man sitting next to me. A man who is finally, I'm hoping, healthy for the long haul. My dad, Tim.
I haven't been so bad.
We keep having to take breaks because you can't seem to get healthy.
Well, yeah, when my chest is so tight that we actually have to go to the emergency room.
It makes a difference.
We're taking a week off at that point.
Understood.
It's angina, not a heart attack, because, as they said, you have no heart.
Very true.
So,
but we had to make sure we recorded this week because something amazing is happening yet again. Ohio State and Wisconsin are in the Frozen Four of the women's tournament. Go Buckeyes.
For the fourth straight years on Wisconsin. I even think you want Wisconsin to win, considering your decorations you put up.
When did you do that?
Well, Wisconsin won last year. They're going to win this year.
When did you do that?
Oh, last week sometime when I was over. Don't take that down.
I'm taking that down. I honestly didn't even notice that was up.
I was going to leave it for the whole show. I thought that would be mean.
All right, then. Now Ohio State's actually showing.
For the fourth year in a row, it's going to be Wisconsin, Ohio State, possibly in the finals.
Yeah.
The committee did my Badgers no favors.
The committee didn't do your Badgers no favors. The Badgers had a chance to beat Ohio State in the WCHA championship, and they didn't. Ohio State gets to be the 1 seed, which means Wisconsin's a 2 seed. Penn State's the 3 seed.
And we're playing in Penn State.
And it is on Penn State. Well, technically, the Badgers are the home team in this.
Yeah, because of the 2 seed. The game is being played in Happy Valley at Penn State.
It is Penn State's home ice. You are the home team in a very away team atmosphere.
That thing is going to be all white and black.
I don't know about that.
Wisconsin travels well, don't get me wrong. However,
Wisconsin Badgers women's hockey has a pretty strong following.
They do. I mean, it's one of the...
But so does Penn State.
They do. Wisconsin's one of the few places where football and basketball are not the only revenue sports. Hockey is traditionally, men's hockey traditionally is a revenue sport. Women's hockey is a huge revenue sport. They fill the Kohl Center every game.
You know, the other team that's starting to see hockey be an extremely high revenue sport for them, not extremely high, but at least a revenue gaining sport, Penn State.
Shush. I want it to be Wisconsin, Ohio State in the finals for the 4th straight year because since 2019, the winner has been either Wisconsin or Ohio State.
Yeah. 2019, Wisconsin wins. 2021, because 2020 was canceled due to COVID, Wisconsin wins, back-to-back champions. 2022, Ohio State. 2023, Wisconsin. 2024, Ohio State. 2025, Wisconsin. It's Ohio State's turn to win it all.
And by the way, I don't know if you've got the scores up, but
I don't.
These games have all been unbelievable.
Well, Ohio State, Wisconsin has been a 1-goal, last-second goal match.
In 2022, Ohio State won 3-2. In 2023, Wisconsin won 1-0.
Yeah.
In 2024, Wisconsin won 1-0.
No, they didn't.
Or Ohio State won 1-0. Sorry. And then last year, Wisconsin in overtime, Wisconsin won 4-3.
In overtime. The Wisconsin player was, or the Ohio State defender was clearly blocked.
Yeah.
Or I should say the goalie. I'm messing this all up. I can picture it, and I can't apparently speak. The Ohio State goalie, who had been playing lights out the entire third period, gets completely blocked out, and Wisconsin scores because they cheated.
They didn't cheat at all. Great score. She stepped up and said, I want the puck, and won. And now this year, I want it to be the 4th year in a row, Wisconsin, Ohio State.
I would love that too.
I do not want Penn State to be there.
But Penn State is going to beat the Badgers this year. Ohio State's going to win. They're playing Northeastern. Ohio State's a much better team than Northeastern. They should get through. Northeastern's a great program.
They're a great program. They won. No, I think
But Ohio State's going to end up winning that one, and Wisconsin's going to ruin it.
No, Wisconsin, I think Mark Johnson has a point to prove because he has all those Olympians on the team, and he's not going to let them have a letdown, I hope.
Well, that would give 1, 2, 3. They have 4 in the last 6 years national champions. That would give them 5 in 7 years.
That'd be outstanding.
You know the last team to have 5 in 7 years?
Yeah, the Packers.
The Green Bay Packers. Ohio State's not going to let that happen. They are going to win. We will be watching both games Saturday, and then Monday's the championship, right?
4 p.m. on Eastern.
3:22. Yep. Saturday is the Frozen
Semis.
Four, the semis, and then Monday at 3 p.m. Central Time is the national championship, where Ohio State will again become national champions.
No. Wisconsin's got the late game. Somehow, some way, they will find a way to beat Penn State. I don't know how.
On their home ice.
In front of their home fans.
Yeah.
Yes.
Have fun. Thanks for choking in the WCHA championship.
It happens once in a while. They'll come back now.
O-H-I-O.
Buckingham U Badger.
On to the NFL, because I do have a question
Going to-
for you.
okay.
Big things happening. We're done. Ohio State's going to win. I got the last word. We're done. We're moving on. Trade happened that surprised me quite a bit because I didn't see the Chiefs being a part of this. Justin Fields for a 6th-round pick
It's a
goes
great
to the Kansas City Chiefs.
Great trade for the Chiefs. They obviously think he can come in and play for the first 4 games, probably 3 or 4.
Yeah. Mahomes is not playing probably the first 3 or 4 weeks.
Right. I think he's on track in his recovery, but they're going to take their time with it, obviously.
Well, and you're bringing in Justin Fields because of the expectation he's not going to play.
Right.
I mean, they're going to let him come back. This is your franchise quarterback. Let him ease his way back in so you can try and make a run back to the playoffs after missing last year.
I honestly thought Green Bay would be very interested in Justin
I
Fields.
did too. We talked about this before. I don't know if we ever talked about it on the show because, again, you tried to die on me again. But we did talk about this quite a bit. I really thought that Justin Fields was going to be the backup quarterback for the Green Bay
I
Packers.
think they looked at the fact that he was an Ohio State quarterback and said, no, we want no part of this. They will lose. No, I actually did because their Fields is more similar to the Malik Willis and Jordan Love.
It's a reclamation project, right? That's what Malik Willis was. Justin Fields made sense in that scenario, especially with the Jets. They're eating $7 million of the $10 million owed in guaranteed money.
Shows you how much they wanted to get rid of Justin Fields.
Right, which is too bad because I do think Justin Fields is a really good quarterback, and I think he can be a starter in this league. But it didn't work out with the Bears, surprise, surprise, because really the head coach didn't want him.
No.
Goes on to Pittsburgh, plays really well.
He played okay.
But there was that clause that said if you start more than half the game, so he gets benched for Russell Wilson, ends up going to the Jets. That was a mess. Everybody that goes to the Jets ends up being a mess. This is a chance for him with Andy Reid to revive his career.
Yeah, and I think Andy Reid will work well with him, and he will get him turned around and we're going to see the best version we've ever seen of Justin Fields.
Yeah.
After working with him. As far as Green Bay goes, I can't see them going into the season with Desmond Ridder as your backup quarterback.
I could.
I can't. Not a chance.
We went into a season with Seneca Wallace as our backup.
That was in 2012.
Who retired after
During
Aaron Rodgers got
He
hurt.
retired during the game.
It was after the game.
No, he really
played, but he was done. He didn't want to play at all. He thought he was
had-
going to get the Brett Favre treatment.
He had to go and put on his pants. He was in street clothes, holding the clipboard.
Yeah.
And then Rodgers got hurt.
Don't think that's exactly what happened, but
He sure played like it was happening that way.
he did. He thought he was going to get the Brett Favre backup quarterback treatment, and Aaron Rodgers broke his collarbone.
Yeah. And Wallace was like, I'm not here to play.
So seeing Desmond Ridder as our backup, I mean, again, it's a reclamation project, right? He was in Atlanta as the starter. It didn't work out.
Big difference. Malik Willis has all the talent in the world. I think he's going to do very well in Miami. Plus, he is such a class dude.
Malik Willis?
Yes.
Yeah, I hope he plays extremely well. I think we might regret the decision of ever letting him walk out of the building.
You had no choice.
You didn't.
You aren't going to pay him the money he got from Miami.
$22 million.
So here's my question. Assuming Green Bay, because they're in talks with Indianapolis about Anthony Richardson, I can see that being a possible trade, 7th rounder, whatever. Or Kirk Cousins has come up as a backup for just Jordan Love, not Justin Love.
It was a nice try, though.
Yeah.
What is Anthony Richardson owed? Hold on, I'm looking this up. Richardson owed. Because I want to see. He was a 4th overall pick next year.
I don't think it's a lot. He's still on his rookie contract.
Oh, fourth overall pick. He's still on his rookie contract. Oh, never mind. $5 million.
Yeah, so it's nothing.
I thought it was a lot more than that for some reason.
Would you bring in Richardson, who by all rights had all the talent in the world, but as raw could be? He's got an injury problem. He's never really showed up in Indianapolis. Or would you go and try to work something out with a Kirk Cousins?
I think that Jordan Love could use a veteran backup behind him. I do. And if Kirk Cousins is willing to take that backup deal, here's the problem you have with Kirk Cousins, though. One, he's waiting to see what Aaron Rodgers does.
True.
Because if Aaron Rodgers decides to walk away,
Pittsburgh's going to grab
Pittsburgh, here I come, right? He's going to get his $30 million contract for one last big contract. He'll be that gap quarterback. So nothing's going to happen until Aaron Rodgers makes a decision. But I do think if Aaron Rodgers comes back, which I think he will,
I do too.
Kirk Cousins would be a perfect fit to back up Jordan Love. One, he always seems to miss a couple of games.
Mm-hmm. Jordan Love does.
Yeah. Whoever I said, sorry. This is why you need to quit getting sick, because now I'm off, and it's your fault somehow.
But Jordan Love, over the last 3 years, has gotten hurt for at least a game or two.
Yeah.
It would have been nice. And Willis stepped in and played extraordinarily well, which is why he got the big contract.
Right.
Kirk Cousins would easily step into that offense and be able to run it.
But will he be a $10 million backup?
Yeah. Where else are you going to go and make $10 million?
Well, that's a really good question.
I mean, when you think
I don't think he's ready to retire.
He's only 37.
I really think Jordan Love could use a veteran presence to back him up. I think there's a couple of things he needs to work on. I think he learned some bad habits from watching Aaron Rodgers. Not that Aaron Rodgers has bad habits. Aaron Rodgers can just do things other quarterbacks can't. And I don't think he had a strong enough coaching to be like, hey, you're not that guy. You can't throw off your back foot like Aaron Rodgers can on a regular basis.
Right.
I think it'd be helpful for him. My other question is, let's say, okay, say Kirk Cousins doesn't go to Green Bay. Do you bring in Russell Wilson to be the backup quarterback for you?
No.
Why?
You know I love Russell Wilson. No.
Why?
Russell Wilson's time in the NFL is over.
As a starter?
He has not looked good even in his relief roles.
We don't need him as a relief role. We need him as somebody who will help develop Jordan Love to that next level.
I would rather have Kirk Cousins than Russell Wilson at this point.
I would too. I'm saying Kirk Cousins is not an option. Kirk Cousins I like a lot too because he knows how to play in Lambeau. He's played there several times before.
Yes. Here's my problem with Wilson coming to Green Bay. I don't think the family dynamic would allow him to go to a market as small as Green Bay. He might do it. I don't think the rest of his family would. I just don't. Because he went from Seattle, West Coast, fit in, to Denver, disaster. He went to Pittsburgh, but And
then he went to New York.
Yeah, where I think the family was very
Where else
happy.
is he going to go?
I'm not sure he gets an offer this year. I really don't. I think he may just be done.
Okay, that's fine what you think. I'm asking the question, like, would that be a viable option at $10 million for 1 year as a backup quarterback? Would you bring in Russell Wilson?
Over Desmond Ridder, yes.
I mean, I don't know what number he'd wear because he can't wear 3.
No, he can't.
It's retired number, Tony Cannondale.
Yeah. Can't wear 3, can't wear 13 either.
Why?
I think we have somebody that's wearing 13. Maybe not. It doesn't matter. But, if he's willing to come in, I think Love could learn some things from Russell Wilson as well. What I've seen of Russell Wilson over the last few years is just wild throws and not a
He's
lot
lost
of
his confidence.
not a lot of discipline. Now going to Green Bay, look what they did for Malik Willis. Maybe they could get some reins around Russell Wilson. And
Malik Willis was a different story.
much different.
Questioned first-round pick when he was coming out. Yes, it was a weak quarterback draft, but third-round pick, all the potential in the world coming from a small school. He just needed time to develop and get used to the speed of the NFL. Russell Wilson's on the back end of his career. Very different story.
Very back half of his career, and he flamed out with Nathaniel Hackett.
Who's on that staff, by the way?
Hello. Right, he's back in Green Bay, or did he go to Arizona?
He was in Green Bay last year. I don't know where he is now.
Okay, I think he's in Arizona. I think Mike,
It wouldn't surprise me.
one of the brothers, hired him. Anyways,
So you don't think Russell Wilson gets signed by any team this year?
I really don't. I don't. I think everybody has seen what he's got left, and they're all just like, yeah, no. I could be surprised, though. Maybe somebody will pick him up.
I mean, I could see him as a backup in Houston. I could see him in Arizona. It wouldn't surprise me.
I could see him in Arizona because they have not much there.
I mean, I could see him being a backup in a number of different places. Kirk Cousins, the same thing. I could see Kirk Cousins in Arizona.
I could see
Unless you're going to roll with Jacoby Brissett.
I could see Kirk Cousins in Vegas as well.
That'd be, if he's willing to take a backup role. I think Kirk Cousins is looking for that one more chance to start. If Kirk Cousins is good at anything in the NFL, he changed contracts in the NFL forever.
Yes, he's a brilliant contract negotiator.
I mean, when he got that $28 million a year fully guaranteed, it was like a 3-4 year contract.
Mm-hmm.
You hadn't seen that for a quarterback before.
And then he signed a fully guaranteed $100 million contract.
Right.
He's brilliant at it.
But I mean, think about it, though. He was the first guy to say, I'm going to take a shorter deal for guaranteed money. Never seen it before. We saw the Brett Favre 10-year, $100 million deal, which was crazy back in when he signed that 98, 99. We saw the big Drew Bledsoe deal. There was always these long contracts.
Right.
Kirk Cousins said, yeah, I'm going to hit the market again. And now all you see is 3-4 year contracts. Right. It's better for the player and better for the team.
It's better for the team because they give them signing bonus or roster bonus or whatever they do.
Right.
Because you can bring down that cap number.
I do think the next thing, this is a sidebar here, it is time for the franchise tag to go away.
It's being misused. It's
going to be misused.
It's hurting the players a lot.
It never should have been allowed to be a thing in the first place. I get why the teams asked for it, but to have 2 franchise tag years, I like the transition tag where, hey, if somebody comes in and offers more,
sure,
you have the first right to match.
I don't like the franchise tag. You've got a 5th-year option. And then
you hit the market.
Sign them or you don't. You don't get to keep them on your team and hold them hostage for another year.
No, and say if you try and sign them, you give us 2 first-round picks. That's dumb too. I like the tag that was used on Daniel Jones. I think it's called the transition tag, where it's, hey, we have the first right to match this if somebody tries to sign you. I think that's great. Do that. The franchise tag, though, has to go. It's not fair to the player. It's just not.
Unfortunately, the NFL's got the weakest position for bargaining because the careers in the NFL are so short.
NFL stands not for long.
It's absolutely what it is. The average career is 4.5 years.
Right.
So, all right. So I do not.
Speaking of, by the way, hold on.
Russell Wilson.
Sidebar again here. Speaking of collective bargaining agreements, I did want to ask your opinion on this. Baseball's coming up to theirs, right? I think it's been established there needs to be a salary floor.
Yes.
All the players are fighting for it. The teams, I think, at this point understand that it's happening.
Go on.
Where's the cap come into play?
Problem is you got one of the weakest commissioners in baseball.
Yeah, Rob Manfred's a clown. We've been through this.
I know that. And unfortunately, he's going to be there, so the owner's going to run him around. I think, honestly, the floor should be at that 150 mark.
I agree.
150 million. I'd like to see a cap of 500. But then you've got all the long-term contracts that are already in place. And I think if you're Major League Baseball, you've got to go to the players and go, look, we understand that the owners have to come to the table this time, and which they've done in the past, but this time they really do, because the players will never accept a cap if there's not a floor.
Right.
They are sick and tired of the Pittsburghs of the world.
Marlins.
But Pittsburgh holding a guy out because he's due a bonus.
Right. Let's be honest, the Rays have been doing it too. Like, they survive off their they've been good because they're good at scouting, but they don't pay anybody ever.
No, they don't. And that's what's got to change. And Milwaukee, and the reason I said $150 million, that's about where Milwaukee is every year, but that's a floor. And
but now Milwaukee, coming off a National League Championship series, they trade their best player because they don't want to pay him.
They always trade a year before. They don't hang on to their guys. Here's the thing with baseball. The Yankees have always outproduced revenue over every other team. The Dodgers are doing that right now as well. Smaller market teams have always had to be smarter about their money and how to spend it. The problem is it's getting so lopsided now. It's not like in the days where there may have been a $20 or $30 million difference.
Right.
Now we're getting hundreds of million dollars difference. And I think baseball finally has to look and say, it's time we start sharing local media revenues on a 60-40 basis or whatever.
They do share media revenues right now.
Not the local ones. They share the national. It's where the Yankees and the Dodgers make most of their money on their local revenue deals that a Milwaukee or a Minnesota just can't sign. Kansas City is another one. They can't ever get close to those media deals. The Dodgers can't play baseball if they don't have another team to play against.
Here's what I want to see come out of this, because you're not going to get a cap. You're just not. Because what you also need to do is stop the Bobby Bonilla. Is that how you pronounce his name?
Bobby Bonilla.
Bobby Bonilla
Who's
deals.
still getting paid.
Well, and that's just what
the Mets.
I know the team. That's what Shohei just got.
Yeah.
Right? He's making $2 million a year, but over like 40 years, he's getting $1 billion.
Sure.
And you need to prevent that in order for the cap thing to work, or the big team's just going to do it, which is ridiculous because the current Dodgers owners are never going to pay that.
Nope. Because that team's
the new owners are going to pay that, which is absolutely ridiculous. And if not, Major League Baseball's on the hook.
But the Dodgers have gone to Japan and signed a local media deal to broadcast their games and are making a fortune.
They are.
And
I'm just saying, if you can do the cap, that has to be part of it. I think cap floor is going to be a part of that. And I think what I'd like to see out of it on top of a cap floor is realignment. Well, I know we talk about it a lot, but our idea of 5 3-team divisions based off of local media revenue needs to happen. You need to put the Yankees, Red Sox, and Mets in a single division where only one of those teams makes it to the playoffs. You need to put the Dodgers, the Giants, and the Padres, or the Angels. I mean, Dodgers, Giants, Angels in one division where one goes, and then you have divisions like Milwaukee, Toronto, and Minnesota together where they're competing.
Yes, and then you've got to win to get in because you'll have 5 divisions then.
Correct. No more wild card.
No.
Win to get in.
In baseball, you have to win to get in, and they need to go back to that. And I think the other thing that the World Series taught us this year is the value of actually bringing pitching back into the game. You look at that World Series, why was it exciting? Because you had pitchers going the distance.
I think you're starting to naturally see that because they're teaching kids to pitch, because the injuries for pitchers has skyrocketed because you're asking them to throw as hard as they can every single pitch. It doesn't matter if you pitch them for 120 pitches. It doesn't matter if you pitch them for 9. At some point, the shoulder's going to give out. Why did Nolan Ryan go as long as he did, besides being a genetic freak of nature? But he didn't throw as hard as he could every single pitch.
Well, look at Rick Maddox. Why did he go as long as he did? Because he knew how to pitch.
Correct.
And same goes for guys like Fergie Jenkins, who did it.
Right.
And
even Randy Johnson later in his career started to develop new pitches.
He
learn control.
Randy Johnson, well, part of his charm was that you never knew when he was going to take off a head or a bird.
Right.
But he did learn a good off-speed pitch. He learned how to throw a slider. Randy Johnson became a very, very good pitcher.
Right.
And that's what all of these guys have to do, because I'm tired of seeing pitchers being pulled out in the 3rd inning and then a new pitcher every other inning. I want to see somebody go 7, 8, 9, and I want that to be the expectation.
Well, and the strategy also needs to go back to hitting. If you watch the World Baseball Classic right now, if you've never seen baseball before and you're watching the World Baseball Classic, I don't know why you would ever watch baseball again. It's boring.
Mhm.
You're just seeing people hit home runs or strike out. That's all you're seeing. And you only see a couple home runs a game, which means you have 27 batters that are just swinging and striking out.
They're playing softball.
We need to go back to baseball being a sport. I don't want to dig into this. I knew this was going to go this route.
Although I will throw one other thing out of there. You want the World Baseball Classic to be actually something that people get involved in? Forget about doing it this time of the year. Shut down baseball for 10 days in the summer. And instead of having an all-star game, which unfortunately has gone from being the absolute best game to watch to being one of the worst all-star games, and do this instead. Do what hockey did when they did the, whatever they call it, the
Four Nations.
Four Nations, thank you. Baseball can do that same thing and do it over a 10-day period in July, once every 3 or 4 years.
Yeah.
And it'd be very exciting. People would be engaged in it, and it'd be a much better standard of baseball.
Well, you're not taking people out of spring training, and you also want to have situations with, like you have with Skubal right now, who hasn't gotten a big contract from the Tigers yet, and so he pitched once, he's not pitching again.
Right, exactly.
He should be the starter going into the championship game, and he's not even.
And I don't know that they can ever do what hockey does, because hockey,
Different ballgame.
When they go into the nations, their teammates are their enemies, and these guys just know one speed.
Yeah.
And that's full speed. And if you lose a tooth, it's part of the game. It's another chiclet out of your mouth. So
different breed of people.
Yes, but I think baseball would be much better off if they did it then. Pitchers would be pitching a lot longer. They're warmed up. They're into the season. It actually makes it a better product.
Baseball needs to learn what that means before we can get anywhere.
Baseball needs to get a new commissioner.
Yeah.
And they need to talk to us. That's the bottom
Well, it just
line.
needs to go back to being baseball. And unfortunately, what you need is that needs to start at the youth leagues. And honestly, it needs to start with Major League Baseball changing the way they pay players too. The problem is that everybody's going for home runs because the home run hitters are getting the big paychecks.
Well, and they also, baseball, the first thing they have to do is playoffs and World Series need to start so early in the game. Kids that are 6, 7, and 8 years old can actually watch.
100%. But before you even do that, you have to go back to baseball to what it was, where it's about balls and strikes, where it's about getting hits and not just swinging for the fences and throwing as hard as you can.
I heard Pete Rose talk about this before he died, and he was exactly right. He goes, today's game is boring.
Yes.
Because, the shift hit to the other side. He goes, I'd still get my 200 hits, but I wouldn't be paid because nobody cares about that anymore. And he's exactly right. Pete, for all of his faults, and he was a flawed human being.
One of the greatest players of all time.
Well, and he was also one of the greatest baseball minds we've ever seen. He knew that game inside and out. He cared about the game. Taking the betting aside, he had a disease like alcoholism, couldn't control it. I mean, Jean Levy, who we had on as a guest a few months ago, a lot of her ideas make perfect sense as well. And if you haven't read her book, Make Me Commissioner, check it out, or go back and watch our interview with her. Because both of us, Jane and the two of us, are passionate about baseball. We want to see it back to being a better game. And it can happen, but there's got to be a concentrated effort on it, and they've got to get a strong commissioner in.
You got to go back to what it was. As much as I dislike Judge Landis as a person,
yeah, he's a horrible human being.
As a commissioner, he saved baseball.
He did, after the White Sox scandal.
Because he brought baseball into a new era, which was transitioning there anyway to the live ball era. But he brought him in, made Babe Ruth the star, but also focused on the pitchers being the stars.
Mm-hmm.
And we need somebody else like that who's like, I'm in charge, and nobody else has a say here.
Yeah,
it's because he's somebody the players respected and understood he has the best interest in the game. And even though he worked for the owners, the players understood exactly what was going on at all times.
Peter Yerberoth was commissioner for a while. He ran the LA Olympics back in the 80s. He was one of those guys. Bowie Kuhn was a strong commissioner. Baseball right now is facing stupid things like the A's playing in wherever in California they're playing, Sacramento. They should. I don't think they're ever going to be in Vegas. Maybe they will.
They haven't even started building a stadium yet. They're supposed to play in next year.
The Angels are going up for sale, and quite honestly, they shouldn't stay in L.A. They should move to Salt Lake City. But Manfred is all about got to get that $2 billion. We got to expand. We got to expand. We got to expand. No, you don't. You've got to contract if you do anything.
The problem with expanding all the time is you're losing out on talented teams. I mean, there's only so much talent to go around.
And in baseball, that pool is about as big as, it's not there anymore.
It's shrinking unless you go to the international market. In the United States, they're playing basketball, they're playing football.
Because they don't
starting to play hockey now.
Because we used to play baseball in a vacant lot. We made up our own rules. We did that. Kids don't do that today. Now they're playing basketball.
Right.
So,
or soccer.
I mean,
you're seeing soccer grow. Baseball's in big trouble if they don't start to go back to what they were. It's a boring sport. What baseball is doing now is what tennis did to itself.
No, baseball's not a boring sport when it's played the way it should.
Right now, it's a boring sport.
Now it is. But it wasn't in the World Series.
No, it wasn't, because that's baseball the way it was supposed to be played.
Exactly.
Different ball game. On to the last thing I want to talk to you about today. March Madness is starting up.
On Wisconsin.
So let's jump into picks. All right, we're here.
All right.
I want to go through some surprise picks you have in your bracket in the first round, and then I want to dive into what we have in the Elite Eight here.
Okay, I lose every year. I try to pick outside, so I've gone chalk on a lot of this.
Let's go to your Badgers here.
Okay.
I have them losing to High Point in the first round.
I have them getting to the Final Four because I think if they get past, they will beat Arkansas.
No, they won't.
They could beat Arkansas. And then they played Arizona, and I think their style of basketball could beat Arizona. They could. This team is a lot like the Frank Kaminsky team. They've got good outside shooters.
Okay.
I'm going Homer on this one.
Then you're either going to have them facing, I'm assuming, Gonzaga or Purdue, right?
I have them guess Purdue.
Yeah, okay. And you haven't beaten Purdue, of course.
I didn't get that far. I haven't made that choice yet. But
got it.
They won't beat Purdue.
Well, they have to beat Purdue to get to the Final Four.
I think I have them in the Final Four playing against Purdue, or maybe I didn't go that far. I don't think I went that far.
All right. You
okay.
Didn't do your homework here.
No, I did.
Iowa, Wisconsin losing. I have Ohio State beating TCU in the first round. Complete homer pick. But I have them losing to Duke the next round. Like, I'm a homer. I'm not stupid.
I got it.
Ohio State's lucky to be in the tournament. And the fact that they're an 8 seed is crazy to me.
It is. I've got Duke.
All right. What's the big upset you got? I have South Florida beating Louisville. And I have UCF beating UCLA.
I've got Michigan State beating Louisville and beating UConn.
Okay, we're talking first round here, so you don't have you have Louisville beating South Florida. I also have Michigan State.
I have USF beating UCLA in the first round. UCF.
What, you have UCF beating UCLA?
Yeah.
All right, so let's focus on this. Now we're getting lost. I'm getting lost.
Okay, sorry.
In the East bracket,
okay,
who are in your Elite Eight? Or Sweet 16, I should say. Who are your Sweet 16
Sweet 16,
teams?
Let's see. I've got Duke versus Ohio State.
That's the round of 32. We're talking Sweet 16.
Sweet 16, I've got Duke and Kansas.
See, I have Duke and St. John's.
I could see that too. I've got, let's see.
You said Michigan State and UConn.
I got Michigan State and UConn.
I also have that. All right. On to the West. I have Arizona playing Villanova I'm in the round of 32 now. I have Villanova and Arkansas in the Elite Eight. Or Sweet 16. I'm screwing myself up.
Yeah, you're screwing yourself up. I've got Arizona playing Wisconsin.
Okay. I have Gonzaga and Purdue.
I have Gonzaga and Purdue as well.
All right, and then in this bracket, I have Arkansas playing Purdue in the Elite Eight and St. John's playing Michigan State. I have St. John's beating Duke.
Okay, and I've got Duke playing Michigan State. And my brackets are up. The screen is jumping all over on me. I've got Wisconsin playing Purdue.
Okay, so you have Wisconsin playing Purdue. I have St. John's, Michigan State. Going down to the lower brackets,
Thank you.
I'm just going to jump right to the Elite Eight at this point. I have Florida playing St. Mary's.
Do you really?
I do. I have St. Mary's beating Texas A&M. I have them beating Houston. I actually have VCU beating Illinois. And then I have St. Mary's beating VCU to go to the Elite Eight.
I've got Florida. For some reason, my big upset, I have McNeese State beating Nebraska.
I also have McNeese State beating Nebraska.
Okay. And I've got Florida beating McNeese State. I've got Michigan beating Texas Tech, but I could
You are on a different side of the bracket.
I'm sorry.
We're on the South.
Okay, in the South, I've got.
So you got Florida beating McNeese. Who's the
Yes.
other team?
Stop it. North Carolina.
I have North Carolina losing in the first round. So you got Florida, North Carolina. All right, now let's go to the Midwest. I have Michigan beating Akron to get to the Elite Eight. And I have Iowa State beating Miami of Ohio.
Do you really?
I think they're going to make a run. They were undefeated. They lost in the first round because they didn't show up. But I think Miami of Ohio is going to beat SMU. Watch, I'll be wrong before this even posts tomorrow. But I think Miami of Ohio is going to make a run. I think they're going to lose to Iowa State in the Sweet 16.
All right, and I've got Michigan going against Kentucky.
I can also see that.
I think that could happen. I'm worried about Arkansas just because of Calipari being the coach.
Yeah, he's only won how many national championships, been how many Final Fours, and completely has rebuilt this program from the ground up. Yeah, I'm real worried about Calipari being the head coach.
No, I'm not worried. I'm not worried about that. I think he could make a deep run. I'm talking about the fact that I went homer in Wisconsin beating Arkansas and beating Calipari.
So my Final Four, I have St. John's playing Florida, and I have Arkansas playing Michigan.
All right.
Final Four is in the middle.
Stop it. My bracket keeps jumping everywhere.
Use the trackpad.
I am using a trackpad.
You're not using the trackpad. You're using your finger.
I've got Michigan against. Why is this not working? I feel bad. I've got Kentucky and North Carolina, and I've got Florida and Kentucky.
You can't have.
I can't have Kentucky. Why is Kentucky? I've got Kentucky listed in two places here. Kentucky, North Carolina, and Florida.
Kentucky can't play North Carolina in the Final Four.
Not in the Final Four. I've got Florida and Kentucky.
Can't have Florida and
Why
Kentucky
can't I
in the
have
Final
that?
Four. Because they're on different brackets.
Talk about yours because
All right.
my screen is all screwed up.
I have Arkansas and Michigan. I have Arkansas beating Michigan. I have St. John's beating Florida. I have Arkansas and St. John's in the national championship.
All right. We'll go with that. I think Wisconsin's going to get to the Final Four.
All right. So you have Wisconsin, Michigan in the Final Four. And you have Florida. If I'm reading that, you have Florida, Michigan State, right?
There you go.
All right. I figured out your bracket
Thank
for
you.
you. Who do you have winning, Florida or Michigan State?
I'd like to see Michigan State win, but I think Florida.
Okay. Who do you have winning, Wisconsin versus Michigan?
Considering the fact that neither one of those teams are going to be there, but I'm still.
I think
hopeful.
Michigan will be there.
I think Michigan could be. The game they played on Saturday, Wisconsin had a 26-3 run to get back in the game. If I'm going to be a homer, I'm going to go a homer all the way. Wisconsin will beat Michigan. Why not?
Okay. You have Florida versus Wisconsin.
Florida.
National championship. That is the most homer bracket I've ever seen.
It is the most homer bracket I've ever done.
Like, they're going to lose in the first round.
Yeah, they're 12-5, so odds are they lose. But I'm hoping they don't. And I'm hoping they go on one of those magic runs.
It's okay. It doesn't matter. Neither of us are going to be anywhere close, but I have my brackets submitted. You let us know what you think in the comments below, and while you're down there, don't forget to like, subscribe.
I apologize for my bracket.
Hit that notification bell so you get to enjoy this show as much as we enjoy making it. Don't apologize. I'm happy that the world got to see. Like, we had this. We walked through this.
We did. But I'm looking at my screen and it's like there's no Final Four listed here.
All of a sudden, we've trained you in technology.
I understand that.
And then all of a sudden, you turned into a 93-year-old man
I have.
trying to figure up a wind-up toy.
Yes, I can't even argue with you because I'm looking at this going, what is going on?
I'm
Sorry,
nervous
folks.
doing this after seeing what just happened with the bracket. But you and I have had a great show. But as we all know, you cannot have a conversation with your dad without your father getting the last word.
Look,
It's all you.
as we talked about early in the show, when you get to be older, and I'm just turned 64, good song by the Beatles, by the way. When you feel something, don't ignore it. Go to the doctor. I had something from whatever virus of the week I caught early in the year. I kept ignoring it. It'll go away. It'll be fine. My chest started getting tighter and tighter until finally I couldn't stand it. And I woke him up in the middle of the night and I said, I got to go and get this checked. And ended up, fortunately, it was just angina and the results of the virus. But listen to your body and go and get checked and get into the gym and keep in shape.
Now, if only he will listen to his own advice.
Well, there is always that.
Thank you, as always, so much for watching. This has been Sports Talk with Dad. See you next
Bye,
time.
everybody.